Yo, what's up guys? I just wanted to record this video really quickly to show you how async hint detection will work and how you can implement this into your plugin. So this is mainly for the developers at, I don't know how to pronounce it, but I think it's like Orion MC or something like that. So what you're going to want to do is, in your plugin, you're going to want to make a new join event. And this is where you're gonna inject, or this is where you're gonna get the player to inject your is how you're gonna do packet injection. So now that we have that, we're gonna make another class. It doesn't matter if it's private or whatever, just make another class, or fucking void, my bad, called inject. And this is gonna take a player in the here. It's gonna take a player. So what you're going to want to do after that, as you can see, we're going to want to get the craft player from this player. So to do that, it's pretty simple. We just cast the player to a craft player, and yeah. So I'm sorry if I'm going, oh shit, sorry if I'm going really quickly. I'm just trying to get this over with really quickly so I can show you. Now we're gonna want to get the network manager from this craft player. So we don't have to cast it, but I just like doing it because it looks cleaner. So now we're going to get the network manager. You can also do this in a class and make this whole method a class, and because it might look cleaner that way. And if you store player files, or if you store player data in a class and put that in a map, and if you store data that way for your server, you can just add a class like this to your data in the constructor. You don't know what I mean, like, I hope you guys know what I mean. But yeah, so we're gonna import it. By the way, this is for 1.7. For 1.8 and above, you can just you don't have to do the reflection I'm about to do. You can just do dot channel. So we're gonna take the craft player that we just made and get the handle, which is going to return an entity player, and we're gonna get the player connection from that entity player and then the network manager. So the reason we got the network manager is we need this to get the channel. Now if you're on 1.8, you can just do dot channel and you would be able to get the channel, but since we're on 1.7, we're gonna have to use reflection to get the channel since the field is private. So you do channel, and we're gonna cast it equal to null and import it. So import the Minecraft one because we're using Netty to get the channel. Okay, so we're gonna make a new field, and it's just, we can name whatever. I'm gonna name it field, and we're gonna get network manager dot class dot get declared field, and declared field, and we're gonna get m. So basically what this is doing is, if you don't know what reflection is, let's say we had a private string named m here, you would do async dot class dot get declared field, and that'll get this object. But now if you know anything about Java, you're probably wondering, well, if you do this, then it's gonna return null because it's not initialized. So that's where this comes in. So we also, since it's a private, like if you look through the bucket source code or the Spigot source code, it's gonna be private. So this is only for 1.7, by the way. You can just do dot channel with 1.8 because it's public on 1.8, but it's private. So we're gonna have to set the accessible to true, also to throw an exception. And yeah, so after we do that, we're also going to have to set the channel. So we're gonna add a cast to the field.get network. So what the, oh, add exception. You're gonna have to add these two more exceptions. But what this is basically doing is, this is basically getting the class and getting this field in the class. And after you get the field in class, we're setting it to accessible, meaning we can now get it. If we didn't, it would throw an exception. And we're doing channel equals channel. We have to add a cast because when you do field.get, it returns a object type. So yeah, and we're getting it from this. So we're getting this instance we're getting this field from this instance is basically what's happening if you don't know what reflection is. So you can add some no pointer checks if you want, but to me it really doesn't matter since I know this is gonna work. So we're gonna do channel dot pipeline that add after decoder. Oh, whoops. Add after can't type decoder, and this right here is gonna be your channel name, so you can name it whatever. I'm gonna name it Potenia because that's my server, and you can name it whatever, it doesn't matter. You can name it Hitdetection, Async, Knockback, or it doesn't matter. Do it to your heart's content. And we're gonna make a new message to message decoder, and because this is a and we're gonna add unimplement methods and add this. So because this is a inference class, if you know anything about Java, once again, since that's an inference class, we're gonna have to implement the methods because it's not declared in the inference class and it's not abstract. So yeah. So here, what we're gonna actually do is we're gonna, above this, create a new pub, or we can make it private, doesn't matter, private void read packet, and this is gonna take in a object packet. And now what this will do is we're gonna pass this through this so we can read the packet. So what we're gonna want to do is we're gonna want to add this to the list. So list.add packet. Actually, we're still gonna do this, but what we're gonna want to do is make this a boolean for what we're doing. This will come in handy later. And yeah, so after we make that a boolean, we add it to the list. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna do if read packet returns false, which that should be true actually. If it returns false, then packet, then we're gonna remove it from the list, and we're gonna take this and flush it. So what this basically does is it adds the packet to this list right here. It goes through here, and if we found the packet we're looking for, we're gonna return false, so it doesn't send the normal packet or the normal hit packet, and then we cancel the packet here, and then we're gonna send our own packet later. So what we're gonna do now is we have to cast it again because it's an object, so we won't have the actual packet class yet. So we're gonna do packet equals and then add a cast to object packet. Add your imports. Okay, so now since we're looking for the hit packet, we're gonna do if packet is instance of packet play in use entity. And what this basically does is we're checking for this packet, which this packet gets called every time a player interacts with something or attacks something. So yeah, so basically we're gonna have to add a cast to that again. So packet play in use entity, and then play in u packet is what I'm gonna call it, equals, and then just add your normal cast again, packet. So after we have this down, we're gonna want to get the entity, right? The entity we damaged. So we're gonna do entity e equals actually we're just gonna call this pi just for convenient purposes because I don't like typing out long things. Equals pi dot a, and what we're gonna have to do is, okay, this is annoying. We're gonna have to get the craft world, so, or not the craft world, but we're gonna have to get the NMS world. So here, 1 second, just type this in. It's kind of annoying, actually really annoying. P.get world. Ah shit, I did this wrong. It's like, it's just kind of hard to read because I hate doing adding casts like this, if that makes sense. But we're gonna do that, then like that. Hold up, I'm sorry, I forgot how to do this. Oh, that's why we didn't import craft world. Yeah, there we go. Get handle. Yeah, I think that's it. Get handle. Yeah, that returns. Did that return the world? We're gonna import the NMS version, by the way. Yep, that did work. Okay. So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna do the same thing here. We can just copy and paste it, and we're gonna search up if dot players contains e, which basically says actually we want to do one more thing here, and that's gonna be and pi.c equals and enum entity use action dot attack. So basically what this does is this checks if the entity we just got is a player and not something else, and we're gonna check if the player actually attacked instead of interacted, because that means when you interact, that's just gonna, you know, it's we don't want to interact, basically is what I'm trying to say. Then we're gonna return false. We're gonna do packet damaged equals player e.get bucket entity, which not packet, player, sorry. We're getting the damaged player here, which will come in handy later, and we're gonna return false, so this damage packet will not get sent. This is important, but that's only if we reach here, so that means there won't be async hit detection for mobs and stuff. It will just be normal. And now we're gonna make a new packet called packet playout entity status. We're gonna name that status equals new packet playout entities status e comma byte2, which what this is the damage animation. So when we send this to everyone, it will say that this entity right here, which is the damaged entity, was well, it will just play the damage animation pretty much. So what we're gonna do now is we're gonna make a new void called run async, and that's gonna take, here we need it to take a player, the entity, the NMS entity, remember, and another player, or the damaged, and then the packet. Now we're gonna run this. We're gonna run this asyncly, which is basically what async hit detection is. We're running the packet on another thread, so we're gonna create a new runnable, and we're gonna do, we have to import this first, and we're gonna do run task asynchrony, and then put your Java plugin class there. And yeah, so here we're gonna do for player p bucket get online players. Then we're gonna have to get the craft player, so craft player cp equals craft player oh shit, hold up. We're gonna name this attacker damager, or damaged, and p. So we're gonna do cp dot player connection, or cp dot get handle dot player connection dot send packet. This will basically send the damage animation to all the players on the server, but you can also do it to all the players in the world, because if in the damaged player's world, because if they're not in the world, they're obviously not going to see it, so it doesn't really matter that much. And actually, you should do that, but I'm not going to do that here. What you're going to want to do next is, this is going to get really tedious. So, most of this code right here, I'm going to copy and paste from the bucket, the actual Spigot jar, because this code from the Spigot jar. So yeah, I have it right here. So you can either type this out or do whatever, but this is basically setting the entity velocity and stuff. But what we're gonna want to do is we're gonna want to this is for later right here. So we're gonna I can't speak. We're gonna want to get the entity player of the damage. So entity player, add cast the craft player damage dot get handle. Where is this? Where did we put this? Oh, equals. Then we're gonna have to do the same for the attacker, so we're gonna call that EPA attacker. Then after this, we're pretty much done. So right now what will happen is the player will have the damage animation, but what if we want to make him take knockback or take damage? If we wanted to make him take damage, what we're going to do is we're going to set the health to whatever, right? So this is bad right here, you shouldn't do this, but because we're getting an async, but I don't think it would really matter that much to your fucking server explodes. But yeah, we're doing this, and so basically we're getting the health and setting by 1. Now you must be wondering, like, well, what if I want them to take the regular damage? You're gonna have to do some common sense and figure that out yourself, because I don't feel like doing that, because I don't want to make the video too long. But yeah, we're gonna subtract 1 from their health, and that's just for now. Maybe in a future video I might do it if people are asking for it, but yeah, it's that. So now all this other stuff I'm gonna be copying from my Spigot jar, which is just some calculations for the knockback, and I'll explain them to you while I'm doing it. So here I have this. Basically what's happening here is this is the previous velocity for the entity, the damage. Then we're setting their velocity change to true. After we change it to true, we're using this method to calculate based on the player's yaw. Just some simple math, what's it called, trigonometry, simple trigonometry right here, which so right here what we could do is, if you want to have custom KB, right, obviously like people like that and people want that, you can either do it like this, or you can do like double KB or KBX equals 0.895 or something, or you can do it this way, which is fine too, and then get the X, multiply it by KBX, get the Y, where is it, oh no, that's the Y I'm multiplying, get the Y and multiply it by KBX, and do the same for the X and Z, and that's that. But if you're doing it this way, you don't necessarily need to multiply the Y, but if you want to, you can. But if you do it this way, don't have this here, just comment these out. And yeah, so I'm also going to copy and paste this, because this is also from it. What we're doing here is we're making a new player velocity event, and we're calling it, so that means it'll call events like these, and we're setting the velocity of the player based on this event. So if you like customize it, like for example, if you use knockback patch or something, knockback patch will still work with this. so you can use that. But if you're using a custom spigot jar that has a knockback thing in it, like a custom knockback, you're gonna have to set the values here or here, depending on what you do, because wherever they put the custom knockback does not get passed, because we're doing it ourselves, so we have to do it here. But if you're using a plugin like Knockback Patch, it'll work still, so don't worry about that. And yeah, so we're pretty much done here. All we have to do is inject it with our event.get player. But also keep in mind that since we're using packet injection, we're also going to have to de-inject. So just make a new void called de-inject, and it's just going to take a channel. Really simple. And what we're just going to do here is we're just going to get the pipeline that we injected. So that's where the name comes in. So we're going to do channel.pipeline.get Britannia. And then we're going to check if it's not equal to null, obviously, because if it's equal to null, then we didn't inject it into this player. Then we're going to do pipeline.remove Britannia. And that's how we remove it, but I won't be removing it because I just don't feel like it. I can't be bothered, but that's the code if you want to know. And yeah, so we're done here. If we go in game really quickly, so for example, if I compile this, if I compile this and if I compile it and we go into game really quickly, it will work. It will basically be like combo, because since we're registering it on our own thread, there is currently no hit delay. So yeah, I'll also be doing that in this video at the end. So yeah, so if you're a developer and you want to know, it should be common sense for you. But if you're a developer and you're like still kind of confused on the concept, maybe because you don't know packet injection, or maybe you just really don't care and you just want the code, I guess. I mean, it's a shitty version, so I don't care if you do. I don't care if you use it or not. But as you can see, if we hit this player, oh shoot, I messed up with something. What did I do wrong? Is the plugin enabled? No, what happened? 38. Oh, whoops. I'm sorry. Public void on enable. My mistake. I was so used to coding regular Java, I haven't done this in a while. But what we're gonna do is we're gonna just compile this. Sorry if the video is getting a little bit long, but you can leave now if you don't. You probably already know how to put a hit delay on, but if you really want to know, just stay for a little bit longer while I show you this. And yeah. Actually, let me get started now while the server's going up. So what you're gonna want to do is you're gonna want to store a we have to store the class, not the syntax. So here we're just gonna do equals new hash map, and yeah, this will be the delay. Let me get on the server in the meantime. Sorry, if you don't see my second monitor, but on my second monitor I have this account. So as you can see, if I just make sure it's enabled, yeah. If you make sure, or if you not make sure, I can't talk. If you see, what did I do wrong? Oh, that oh I'm sorry, I'm retarded. We didn't actually call this, so that's what's happening. So attackers PE damaged status. So now if we restart it, it'll work. But in the meantime, while the server's going up, as I said before, I'll be showing you how to do this. So we're gonna run this. We're gonna do if we're first injecting them and we get to here, we're gonna do delay.put player.getName. You can use UUIDs, you can use whatever you want, doesn't matter. Actually, don't put it here, but I'm gonna move this in a second. We're putting this here, no, here, no, here. Then what we're gonna do is we're gonna make an if statement. So if we're gonna do if delay dot contains player dot get name long equals long s equals delay dot get player dot get name. Now what we're gonna do is we're gonna do some simple math here. So we're gonna multiply this or divide this by 1,000 and then multiply this by 20, so we're getting the ticks. So for example, if you want to do this every 20 ticks, I think that's how it works. Yeah, if you want to do this every 20 ticks, you would do something like, tell me if my math is wrong, I'm sorry, but the reason why we're doing this is every 20 ticks is a second, and if we divide this by 1,000, we're getting every second. So we're getting basically not really every 20 ticks, but kind of every you know what I mean. I'm not sure if that's actually accurate, but I think it is. So now that we're here, we're gonna see that, oh, as you seen before, the packet was getting canceled. We were just never sending our own packet. So as you can see, it's like combo, just because we didn't add any delay. So you can do that yourself, but as you can see, the knockback works fine. We added our own custom knockback to the plugin too, so that's that. You can add your own custom damage, hit delay, and whatever. So I'll be ending off the video there. I mean, hold up, I'll just finish off this and end it off. So for example, if